Hello everyone, this is Will from You Know Nothing. Thank you so much for clicking on this video and welcome back to another one. If you're a fan of Game of Thrones, please consider checking out some of my other videos and subscribing, it would mean a lot to me. One of my biggest gripes with Season 8 so far is the way they've treated Ghost. He's a fan favourite, but obviously not an animator's favourite or a director's favourite. I don't know about you, but I'll be fuming if we find out there was a deleted scene of Jon giving Ghost a proper goodbye, giving him a good pet and that. And they didn't include it. He's a good boy, and he deserves better. Even Arya's goodbye to her direwolf Nymeria was more sentimental than Jon's to Ghost, with her "that's not you" echoing her "that's not me" to Gendry in the latest episode as well. Out of all the direwolves the Starks found in the first ever episode, Ghost is one of the last standing, and one who's managed to stay by his master's side for most of the time. He even guarded Jon's dead body, for God's sake. But anyway, so far, the fate of each individual direwolf has kind of reflected or foreshadowed the story of their respective owner in some way. Could Jon sending Ghost away give us an indication to what happens to Jon in the final two episodes? Let's look into it. In the A Song of Ice and Fire books, the connection between the direwolves and the Stark children is a lot deeper than portrayed in the TV show. If I remember correctly, all of the Starks could walk into their direwolves, even if it was just in their dreams. George R.R. Martin included them in his story for a reason, and they were an integral part of the show, or at least they were in the first few seasons. Grey Wind was Robb Stark's direwolf. Now, Grey Wind followed Robb and his bannermen through battles from Harrenhal to Riverrun before the two became casualties of the Red Wedding. In a final act of mockery, the Frey soldiers sewed the direwolf's head onto Robb's body and propped on a horse. Lovely. Shaggy Dog helps Bran and Rickon escape from Winterfell when Theon took it all those years ago. When Bran went north of the Wall, he sent Rickon and Rickon's direwolf Shaggy Dog to the Last Hearth to stay with the Umbers for protection. However, when the Boltons declared themselves Wardens of the North, the Umbers showed their true colours, sending Shaggy Dog's head to Roose Bolton to show their allegiance. We all know Rickon fell at the Battle of the Bastards not too long later, following in the footsteps of Shaggy Dog. Lady was Sansa's direwolf, who was killed at the order of King Robert Baratheon, who was under a lot of pressure from Cersei at the time, after Joffrey was being a dick and was bitten after having a sword fight with Arya and a baker's son, way back in Season 1. We know that obviously Sansa hasn't followed suit and Sansa hasn't died like Lady. However, it could be argued that when Lady was killed, so was the innocent Sansa Stark, signifying the beginning of her path to becoming the switched-on, politically sound leader that she is today. Bran's wolf, Summer, was a very good boy until his last breath, protecting Bran while he was in a vision as the Night King attacked the Three-Eyed Raven's tree. Summer unfortunately fell at the hands of the dead, and you could suggest that Bran also died as a human as he became the Three-Eyed Raven at that point, and he was no longer Bran Stark. Nymeria parallels Arya's story to an extent, as after Arya made her wolf flee from King's Landing to save her life, Nymeria becomes an absolute badass and the leader of her own wolf pack. Nymeria turns down Arya's love just as Arya does to Gendry, preferring to be a quote-unquote lone wolf, taking on the world alone. Now on to Ghost. Ghost was the runt of the litter, and as such was given to Jon Snow, the bastard of the Stark children. We now know that Jon is a Targaryen and not a Stark, but he still grew up in Winterfell and has Stark blood in him from his mother, Lyanna. As Jon now prepares for the last battle, he leaves Ghost and sends him north of the Wall with Tormund. What a spin-off that would be, by the way. By doing this, Jon is almost banishing the parts of him that belong in the north, symbolised by Ghost. Banishing the adventure that he knows and loves for his duty as the rightful king. He doesn't want to be king and may not end up on the Iron Throne, but leaving Ghost is essentially cutting himself off from an essential part of his northern spirit to pursue his destiny as Aegon Targaryen. Maybe if he does win the throne, the final image of the show will be him stroking Ghost from the Red Keep like the good boy he is. Hey, maybe even give him a treat or something, Jon. God. But metaphorically, that is what I think Jon sending Ghost away was saying on a much deeper level. Jon is coming to terms with his whole identity changing, and him fully accepting that is visually shown with him saying goodbye to Ghost. Although I'll say it again, just give him a pat or something. I'll adopt you, Ghost, if Jon doesn't want you. Or on the other hand, Jon's story could follow Ghost's in a lot more of a literal sense. So they could win the last war and then Jon could decide, no, I don't want any of this. I don't want to be king. I don't want to be involved in any of it. He goes and lives out the rest of his days north of the Wall. But as we can see, all the direwolf stories have kind of had a similar impact to the stories of their own owners. Do you think we're going to see Ghost again in Game of Thrones or even a spin-off show? And what do you think is going to happen to Jon Snow in the final 2 episodes? Let me know in the comments down below. If you're excited for Game of Thrones, smash that like button, subscribe for more, and I'll see you all on my next one.